To Drinking Bros, presented by GhostBed.com.
Yeah, welcome to Drinkin' Bros, kids. It's a magical time when we're able to go live with like monstrous stories. Dan is loading up his gun, as you can see here, because Bill Cosby is loose on the streets. He is free. He is out in these streets. He's getting pudding pops for all the children across the land, and women between the ages of 18 and 34. Good for him.
That old?
I don't know that he goes that old necessarily.
I don't know what his deal is.
I don't either. But I do know this.
Well, I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to that whole trial. Apparently, neither did the prosecution.
No.
They fucked that one up pretty bad.
Yeah, here's what we do know, kids, because a lot of people are asking, how did this happen? How did a dude who was accused by over 60 women of rape, he beat the first trial, first of all, and then they retried him, didn't beat that one, and then they came back and appealed it. It's been about a 2 or 3 year appeal process. What happened was while he was locked up, he got the Trump attorneys in there, and they looked at the evidence and what was going on. Turns out he was getting sued in a civil suit and gave a deposition. Now, during that deposition, a civil suit is obviously for personal money. You can't go to jail for that.
Well,
really.
I mean, if the personnel involved say that it is a proffering session, then you can't be prosecuted for anything that happens.
Correct.
That's said rather in there,
and so
or at least you can be prosecuted for it, but they can't use that as evidence.
And so that's what happened. Is they used part of that deposition from the civil suit to try to get him federally, and the Supreme Court came down and said, no, you can't actually do that. So look, when everybody says it's always fucking white people who are getting off, not today, huh?
Okay. I'm reading some of the other stuff too.
One white woman get off today. That's not true. Allison Mack from the NXIVM sex cult from HBO, the popular HBO actress on Smallville. Very, very talented.
Felicia Rashad.
In a very small window.
Felicia Rashad says, finally, a terrible wrong is being righted. A miscarriage of justice is corrected, rather.
Claire Huxtable.
Yeah. So, Cosby is 100% guilty of all the crimes. The prosecution fucked it up. They fucked up the logistics of the prosecution. The information is correct.
Yeah.
Like, he admitted that he drugged and raped all these women. And Felicia Rashad says that a terrible wrong is being righted. This woman should kill herself. She should blow her brains right out of the back of her head. She doesn't deserve to breathe air for saying something like that.
This trial with Cosby.
He's here. Let him in.
Yeah, let him in. But, this trial, by the way, with Cosby is very reminiscent of the shit that Michael Jackson went through, where you have a beloved figure that people just can't accept that they did horrific shit.
Right.
And it's crazy to me, but, here we are. So he is free. The Allison Mack chick that I was talking about in the sex cult, she ended up getting 3 years
what was her deal?
prison.
Was she like part of the recruitment? Is she like
Correct.
the Ghislaine Maxwell of NXIVM?
Yes.
And I didn't really ever look into that documentary. How fucked up was NXIVM? I mean, a typical cult is one dude at the top, maybe a couple of deputies, and they fuck everybody's wives while the other dudes get cucked. I mean, it's basically just a big cuck fest, right?
Yeah. This one involved branding, though, and that's where things got sexy. So they were branding all of the girls.
Like cattle.
Correct.
So you're telling me that girls are more important than cattle? I don't know.
And they were branding them right by their pussies, which is nice.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And it was their initials combined. It was a whole fun, flirty thing.
People believe some weird shit and get duped into weird shit. I mean, look, there are people that sell Amway products and believe that as a career.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They believe they're not involved in a multi-level marketing scheme, et cetera, et cetera. But when you start putting hot steel on people's clown holes, that seems like a bridge too far for me.
Seems like it. Can we get a guess here? Can we lead him in with a Cosby sound effect? Cosby's a free man today. There it is, Greg Ellis. You're welcome. Is that the best intro you've ever had in your career? The only acceptable answer is yes.
Yeah, no. He just got released, didn't he?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Good Lord. You came on the right day, my man.
You did. There's some things that are unavoidable when we have guests and you have huge stories like this. The last one was, Francis Ellis,
yeah.
a different Ellis, for the insurrection that day.
Francis Ellis was on the show he was with Bro Bible at the time. He was on the show right as that whole storm the Capitol bullshit happened. And about 10 minutes into the actual vinyl part of it, he's just kind of sitting there, mouth open, looking at the screen. And we're like, hey, do you need to go? Because you run a media company too. You may want to go deal with this.
And he said, yes, I do. I do. Greg, do you follow the news as closely as like we do or everybody else does?
Maybe not, but I did today. I just became aware that he's got out on a technicality of law.
Yep.
Apparently.
Yep.
That's the word.
Yeah. And it's true. Like, what they used was incorrect legally, but it doesn't excuse obviously what he did in real life. But
I'm sure the prosecution was worried and concerned that the same thing would happen that happened with Michael Jackson, which is this. You present all the evidence, tons of victims tell their testimony, but there's no physical corroborating evidence. Mm-hmm. And you're worried that because of his popularity and how dear he is to the public, most people are going to fucking vote no unless there's some hard evidence other than somebody saying that he fucking raped them.
Right.
They thought that, and they tried to massage evidence from a proffering session and use it as direct evidence, which technically it is, but it's inadmissible.
Yep.
And now this fucking serial rapist that's drugged and raped dozens of women is now going to live the rest of his life in comfort.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, wasn't something about the prior district attorney assuring no prosecution when Cosby testified in the civil case? Because criminal equals jail and civil equals money. So Cosby relied on that assurance and gave self-incriminating testimony.
Correct.
Because criminal defendants can refuse to testify, which I think is the Fifth Amendment.
Yep.
And that violated his constitutional rights to try him later. So I agree. It's stunning that our legal system works in this way, that people who are innocent are locked up in prison and people who are guilty get out on a technicality.
Yeah, it's wild. Are you here in America right now or are you overseas?
I'm in La La Land. I'm in Hollywood. Yeah.
Are you?
I've been here for 25 years, an American citizen.
I didn't know if you were overseas because, look, you're one of the finest British actors in the land. However, you live here and you eat up all of our American roles, which is awesome.
All the best Englanders make their way to America at some point. Danny Worsnop from Asking Alexander.
Oh, yeah.
Prince Harry to a lesser degree. I don't know.
Well, that's entered the vernacular, hasn't it? An actor. People say bad actors and good actors in terms of people in the news. And I'm like, I just get denigrated all the time for just being an actor. I didn't know Harry was an actor, although he's probably going to have to do a lot more of that.
Oh, he's definitely acting. You think he's actually happy? Come on. Man.
He looks miserable, doesn't he?
Yeah, you can.
Well, I mean, I don't think he's going to be. It's going to get any better for Harry at all. And eventually, he's going to come with his tail between his legs back to the royal family and ask for forgiveness. Because I hope it works out, but I can't see. I can't see that one working out.
No.
But they'll do a 6-part HBO doc on it. He'll make another fucking $300 million on that one, and he'll be good.
Yeah, he's fine financially. Not that he even needs it. Look, since you're here today on this weird day, you've worked with somebody for years who has been high profile in the news for a famous court case, and Johnny Depp.
And it seemed like he got treated pretty unfairly by the public and the courts as well, right? I mean, at the end of the day, with all the evidence, it's like, oh shit, maybe they're both a little crazy, but maybe he's not the only asshole involved.
Yeah, look, Johnny Depp. Well, obviously, we don't in real life. I know the guy in Hollywood Boulevard, and he's great. He looks identical to him. I've taken a photo with him.
Madame Tussauds in Vegas, too. He looks really good there.
Really, really good there. But when I watched that trial, because I followed it as closely as the Cosby thing, I thought Depp was innocent of all that bullshit. It just seemed like a couple who was getting kind of fucked up, doing some weird shit. But, what's Johnny Depp like in real life?
Johnny Depp, I've worked with Johnny on 4 of the 5 Pirates movies. I've known him for over a decade, and everyone in the industry who knows him personally and knows him well knows he's a great guy. He's a wonderful guy. And look, he's never been tried for any crime in court. It all started in 2016 when he was hit with a silver bullet of family law. He was kind enough to write an introduction for my book, The Respondent, plug, that came out yesterday.
Yes, and we will chat about that because that was amazing.
As I say, this is what happens in family law. When I found out that in America, the American justice system, there's one branch of the legal system that doesn't provide a presumption of innocence, and that's family law. So terrorists, murderers, rapists, pedophiles, they all get a presumption of innocence. But in family law, you don't. So when he was thrown into that cauldron, that quagmire with the cartel of family law, as I call it, he was done. They were both done to a degree, but she, initiated the divorce proceedings, and it was just all over it. So it's all stemmed from that, really.
Yeah, and you talk about it in your book. You're going through a crazy similar thing with your family as well, right?
I did for 6 years now. It all started in 2015. Yeah, the Cartel of Family Law showed up on my doorstep, and I had no idea that they had this much power, but they removed me from my home, stole my freedom, kidnapped my children, or I was dad-napped, if you will, and destroyed my family. And then I found out that this is happening to hundreds of thousands of parents and partners and children across America, and has been for decades. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to write about this. I'm going to tell my story and tell the story of many other parents and families.
Yeah, that's why we wanted to have you on today, because actually a lot of our listeners are military, and they're all going through or have gone through nasty divorces. I mean, I can't name one of our friends who hasn't, I don't think.
Anybody that's had a divorce that I know, except for, no, pretty much everybody.
Everybody, yeah.
It's been pretty bad.
Pretty bad, and they never tell the father's side of it, because you're right. Usually, custody goes to the mom unless something's really bad, and then your life as a father can be stripped away from you pretty much overnight or whenever the judge decides it. What happened to you exactly?
Well, yeah, it's not even when the judge decides it. It's literally the law enforcement used to have discretion when they're called out on domestic violence allegations, which has become the new silver bullet because they're believed, and the dad is removed from the home, or the father or the man is removed from the home for the most part, based on a hearsay allegation, loses his livelihood many times, and his job, his ability to work, his children. And there are shocking stories of, military soldiers who come back from tours of duty and they're hit with this silver bullet, and they've been facing bullets to give us our freedom and our liberties in America, and then they come home to be eviscerated by the legal system and family law and have nowhere to turn to and nowhere to go.
Right, and they hit them from pretty much every. They hit it from pretty much every direction. If somebody files a TRO on a temporary restraining order on you, if you're in the military, or a police officer as well, by the way, there's something called the Lottenberg Amendment that precludes anybody from using a weapon on duty if they're currently under investigation or being charged with any kind of domestic violence crime at all, which means that soldier or police officer gets pulled out of their duties. Like, they're not allowed to do their job anymore, regardless if there's any truth. And then if they get proven innocent at the end of the day, there's no recourse for having lost wages or whatever the fuck, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about the way a police officer or a soldier's career progresses based on experience, you're basically putting a halt to that. So all that time is time lost gaining experience and elevating yourself inside of your industry, right? Mm-hmm. So there's no recourse for that. You get fucked, right? Regardless if anything's true or not. And the other thing is, the military itself will hit you with family care issues. Like, oh, now you're a single dad. Do you not have a family care plan? No? Well, then you got to get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They don't give two fucks about us.
In your case, how did it end up? What was the final result for you, and were you happy with it?
Well, there wasn't a final result. My sons lost a father. I had two boys, 8 and 10. And, to that point, it's spot on. Guilty till proven more guilty. The ramifications are instant and across the board, and you can't get all of that back. And the one thing you can't get back for the most part is your reputation, because it's reputation savaging. And, it's all documented. It's law enforcement. It's particularly difficult for men and fathers. And, so with my situation, I ended up with writing a book. You know what? I heard too many stories similar to mine. When I entered the justice system, I thought, this is America, I'm going to get justice. I entered the Star Chamber. And it boggles my mind that people in the military have to deal with this. And law enforcement have to deal with this, and it's stunning. It's stunning. So I mean, if it can happen to me, if it can happen to Johnny Depp, Brad Pitt, Alec Baldwin, Jeremy Renner, is going through it now, and there are mothers as well. It goes through women as well. It's like it can happen to anyone, and it is, and it has. And this is why we need reform of the legal system. And people are afraid to talk about it. You know, people in high places I've spoken to that are just they just don't talk about this because it's too dangerous, it's too risky. Well, you know what? So's not talking about it. And there's just too many men who are suffering. You know, I talk about men, there are women too, but there are too many men and fathers who are suffering mental health right now. You know, American men kill themselves 4 times more than women in regular circumstances. But fathers who become ensnared in the divorce system kill themselves 8 times more. So that means for every child who loses their mother to suicide during or after divorce, that's 8 children lose a father. And you compound that with you know, the PTSD, that the daily, incessant PTSD of being, I don't mean being in the military, but actually on active duty and service, and your life's on the line. And then you've got 4,000 children losing a parent in family courts every day. It's no wonder that America is the world leader in children growing up in single-parent families.
Yeah, I finally got to the conversation with my wife. This is totally genuine, by the way, where I just said, look, we've seen it with all of our friends and how bad it could possibly be. And I go, I don't care if we kick the shit out of each other. We're going to ride this out until the kids are 18. And then if we hate each other at the end of this, we'll move on. But if so, let's just keep it together and try to do the best we can and try to get through it. Because the other side of this is what you're going through. And financially, people have no idea how devastating it is with lawyers and constant suits being filed and then countersuits and everything else. It never ends up great. You'll see this flashy headline, and I think that's why a lot of it happens. You see a flashy headline of like, oh, so-and-so got $20,000 a month in spousal support or child support or whatever it is, and they're thinking to themselves, I can get that. And it's like, no, you can't, because after the lawyers take their fees and everything else, you lose everything. And then the father's income or the husband's, that's out the window because he paid for the legal fees. And then he's got to pay for hers as well, typically, unless she's working. It's a never ending nightmare.
And his ability to work is impacted. And, you know, my ex-wife spent $1.8 million on one attorney who subsequently left the case. She filed to leave the case and then is suing her for $450,000 of unpaid fee. And this is what happens. It's just racking up billable hours. Yeah. It's planting money trees. It's like emails going back. There was one day I must have seen about 15 emails go back and forth. And it was, that's $250, I spent $6,000 in a day without even doing anything.
They bill you, I'm not even kidding, they bill you by the 15th of an hour, which is
correct.
6 minutes, I believe.
Yes, it is. It is. I've been on the receiving end of those for years and years and years. And I was like, oh man, that conversation we were having the other day on the phone, I thought we were just chatting about what was going to happen Tuesday, but you actually billed me for that 15 minutes, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why the American divorce industry, as I call it, is a $60 billion a year industry. That's what they make, $60 billion. Wow. And they want to protect their livelihood and their income. You know, the expense. So they want cash over kids and families.
Yeah. Oh, my God, man. So are you still going through it? Or are you out of it now on the other side?
I'm kind of on the other side. You know, there's still lingering moments of, you know, I don't get to see my boys. You know, they were the meaning of my life. They were 8 and 10. And they were the reason for my being alive. You know, my being a dad was everything. So, you know, I still deal with those the hits of living grief that come, because there's a finality when you lose someone and they die, and you can go through the process. Which so many fathers, so many mothers and families go through this on a daily basis. And there is no relief from the system. I'm kind of on the other side. I'm giving back. That's why I've written a book. And that's why I've started a charity. There's so many movements and organizations that try and tackle this. But coming together with one voice and one message, I think, is important. And that's what I'm trying to do with CPU, which is Children and Parents United, my new charity.
What is the goal of that organization?
Well, it's really, the mission is to promote and improve well-being, child well-being predominantly, by providing information and resources to policymakers, legislatures, practitioners, and members of the public, resulting in enhanced relationships and reducing conflict for those children and parents navigating our current family law systems. And there's just three cost-effective, practical, solution-based programs that we're working on developing. One is CPU communications, so it's workshops and programs that promote improved interpersonal relating, because when trust breaks down in a relationship, it's tough. And not everyone can afford therapy or working a program. CPU mediations, so that's solutions-oriented intervention experts to help resolve conflict disputes. And CPU law, which is providing legal advice, attorneys who used to be in the legal system of family law or civil rights attorneys, to support the mediation process, oversee legal procedures, and help people draw up and empower people to draw up their own divorce dissolution contracts.
So kind of like
really
almost like a legal Zoom kind of thing for divorce, where it gives people an opportunity to. I mean, look, if you think that a $60 billion a year industry, these two asshole lawyers aren't getting people in a room and intentionally stoking conflict, of course they are. Yeah. Come on, man. Yeah. They're trying to get fucking paid. Like, you know what you should do is ask for this. And you're like, oh, I didn't even think of that. Yeah. That's because it doesn't matter. That's the reason you didn't think of it. You stupid fuck. Yeah. You're being manipulated by assholes. Which is what it's like to be an adult.
And like you were saying, Greg, like there is other options. People just don't know about them, because once you're sucked into a lawyer, then somebody else is sucked into a lawyer, and you're like, all right, well, maybe we could have avoided this by spelling out certain discrepancies early on. Now you can't. It's too late, because once they get involved, it's off to the races, and then there goes all your money.
Yeah, the challenge is there aren't that many options, because if one party signs that retainer agreement and becomes the petitioner, it's all over, like literally all over, because then you have two representatives, attorneys who are trained, they go to school and are trained to make arguments, who they basically see the estate, the value of the estate, and they go, you know what, we can make this much money by keeping it going on this, and planting their own money trees. So what we're trying to do is find viable options for people to keep them out of court and the legal system, because it is basically antiquated, corrupt. And look, the family law code books used to be about an inch thick, a quarter of an inch thick. Now they're 7 inch thick. Who writes them? The state bar associations. Yeah. Who makes up the state bar associations? The attorneys. So it's just a churning
It's the same people who write the fucking the tax code, man. So everybody in the entire United States, including apparently Clarence Thomas, thinks this whole prohibition on marijuana thing is stupid. Right? Yep. Including the most conservative member of the Supreme Court is like, yeah, it's kind of dumb. But the reason that it's still quote unquote illegal and difficult to do anything is because the IRS won't stop fucking people over.
Well, they got to make money.
They keep seizing money, right? When a government entity of any kind, whatever it is, when any institution, when its goal becomes simply to propagate its own existence, it needs to be terminated forever. Yep. That's just how it's got to be like that, right? Like if you're not serving the purpose that you were intended for, fuck out. Yeah, gotta go.
But unfortunately, that is not going to happen, and this is going to continue on forever. Tell everybody the name of the book again.
The Respondent, Exposing the Cartel of Family Law. I have an introduction by Johnny Depp, and Alec Baldwin has kindly written the foreword for it.
Oh, really? So did you work with Alec? How did you get that done?
Well, how did I get that done? You know, Alec, I wrote to... Okay, so here's what happened. It was 6 years ago when it first hit me, and I was thrown into the dystopian authoritarian maze of family law, became homeless overnight, and lost my livelihood and whatnot. I looked online for a book that would help, that would give me some guidance, a companion guidebook, something. There was nothing. It was all legal books, and then books by women, for women, about how to eviscerate men, get the house, get the cash, get the kids. Yep. And there was only one book I found. It was called Promise to Ourselves. That was Alec's book. So I reached out to Alec. I emailed him out of the blue, and I just said, I need help. You happen to have the same attorney that I had, and your wife, Kim Basinger, ex-wife, had the same attorney that my soon-to-be ex-wife has. Will you help? I'm going to write a book. And he wrote back a lovely email and just said, look, I want to write the foreword if you ever get it published, and I'd love to help promote it. So let me know. So that gave me a little impetus to pay it forward. His is more about his struggle inside the courtroom. Mine offers solutions as well. Through my story, I talk of other stories, talk with experts, offer solutions and hope for people, and relief and strategies and tips.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's got to be one of the most stressful things that happens in any human being's life. You know what I mean? Like a sick kid, losing a job in a divorce or something like that.
Oh, yeah,
or
yeah,
just
yeah.
debt in general probably is in there as well, but the divorce situation is bad.
Especially with kids, man.
Unnecessarily so.
Yeah.
I mean, we it's going to be unpleasant, I'm sure, in any circumstance, but in what other unpleasant circumstance that happens naturally in life do we allow people to pile on for no reason, right? Just so they can, healthcare.
Yep.
Everywhere in America, we allow that to happen. We're fucking stupid. We're dumb as shit.
You have the legal system too. I mean, you're talking about the IRS. I mean, the states are incentivized. They get 60% of their money back from the federal government if they ramp up the figures on child support and get more dead broke dads. Used to be called deadbeat dads. I call them dead broke dads. So we're incentivizing it, which is madness. And I've read the suicide notes from good, present, loving fathers, and spoken to a few who've been on the verge. And it's an epidemic. I think the greatest threat to Western civilization is the breakdown of the family, and family law is just perpetuating this madness.
No, I agree. And, there was a friend of mine that I sat down with maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and that's what he does for a living. He does divorces and everything else. And I go, how do you feel about your life? And he goes, well, my job is to rip families apart. So he goes, not great. And I go, why do you do it? And he's just, his only response was, because it's unbelievably lucrative and it's never ending. And I was like, well, I mean, there's definitely a morality issue there, but if that's what you want to do, congratulations. We'll move on to some funner stuff here. You've worked with, look, you've been in everything, I feel like, across the board. One in particular that keeps popping up, there's a guy that keeps popping up in all of our shows on our network here over the last couple months, and it's Kiefer Sutherland. You did 24 with him.
I did, yeah. I actually mentioned Kiefer in my book. He plays an important part in the Respondent. Yeah, 24. Yeah. I played Michael Amador.
Yeah. Did you party with Kiefer off sets?
Yes, many times. He's a friend of mine for 18 years.
He's a
and
pro.
I have many stories, most of which he won't get out of me today.
Well, look,
now we've got good ones of our own.
We've got good ones of our own. So I've been there for a couple of them.
He's a pro. He's a pro fucking partier, that guy.
Pro partier. He'll go all fucking night long, and then, dude, he will be there on set the next morning. It's at call time and everything else.
He's at a Gary Busey that if you leave him in a room with a bottle of booze, he disappears for 3 days.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, dude.
I don't mind if somebody's going to be a shitbag if they show up to work. When I was in the Army and I was an NCO, if my guys showed up fucking looking like shit, as long as they had all the right equipment and they were there on time, like, all right, fucking, you got to deal with it. So, like, I'm not going to get mad at them for fucking themselves over.
Exactly. And with Kiefer, like, dude, he didn't miss, but like, we all have these crazy Kiefer stories. I feel like that could be a podcast in its own.
The best one that I've heard is with is the one where he just fucking takes his pants down to make.
Oh, Clayne Crawford. Yeah, Clayne Crawford.
So Clayne Crawford,
were you on that season with Clayne Crawford?
I don't know which season that was.
24. Forgive me. I don't follow it, but not because I don't want to, but I've been shooting shit for years and years and years. So it's one of those things where
Season 8.
Season 8 is what our producer's saying.
Yeah, no, I think mine was season 3.
Okay, gotcha. But yeah, we went to Dimples one night with Kiefer, and he loves to make people uncomfortable. Judging by your laughter, you've been to Dimples as well, the karaoke bar in the Valley, and he pulled his pants down at the table, and when the meal was served, he just proceeded to cup his dick and balls.
Because Clayne Crawford is super uncomfortable with any male nudity at all. Yeah. And he was just like, you know what?
Oh, there's all these flashbacks I'm getting from all of these different places and events and stories. I remember saying one time to Kiefer, I'm like, he said, you know what? Drinking is a goal-oriented endeavor.
I like that.
I like that a lot.
He is a pro. Like he's, no one cares about the show more than him.
You got to have a plan too.
The showing up on time, and I mean, he leads from the front.
I like that.
He does, man. And we told a story because me and my wife had figured out on another show a couple weeks ago that she was a waitress at this place that I was partying with Kiefer at, and I told this story where we sat down. It was an empty restaurant. They looked like they were ready to close in like an hour or something. And like he starts pounding booze. Well, me and my date just start pounding booze as well. And it just keeps going and going and going. And the staff had kind of like rolled their eyes. And I was like, what's the story there? And they were like, dude, he will come in without fail an hour before it closes, and then we will have to throw him out like 2 hours after we've already closed. But nobody's going to say no to Kiefer because he's such a nice guy, and he just fucking parties and leaves huge tips. So, yeah.
I feel like that's
there's
fair.
a story I want to tell, but anyway.
Oh, fire away, baby!
I don't know how, it involves a curse word. I don't know how racy this show is.
Oh, you can say whatever the fuck you want on here.
We get in trouble.
Name a curse word, I'll say it.
One night in London, we were out in London, and there was
the
a
word
load
is
of,
cunt for sure, right? Come on, let's be real.
I shouldn't tell this.
Yes, you should. Go ahead.
Our channel has actually been completely demonetized because I can't stop saying the word cunt.
Word cunt. So you're good to
There
go.
was okay. There was a lot of strippers. Okay, and they were invited back. They were invited back to the hotel we were staying at. Very, very well known, like one of the best hotels in London. So anyway, we forgot that earlier in the evening that had happened, and then there was a phone call from reception. Sir, there are some ladies here to see you. So the strippers will go down. Okay, sign them in, and that was awkward and odd. The guy in the top hat and all these ladies. Anyway, cut to the following morning. I'm waking up. I'm kind of just half waking up, and I hear, "I want to fuck you in the ass," and I'm like, "What the Jesus!" I got my bag. I got out of bed. I screamed out. I had no idea that there was a lady underneath the covers of this particular bed that was in between us. That was the person that they were speaking, not me. But I was, for a moment, I was a bit concerned. But I confirmed later on that wasn't actually a request or for me.
So you're coming off a fucking bender, and all you know is that you, and at least in your head, Kiefer Sutherland just propositioned you.
Yeah, to have sex with you in the ass. By the way, your Kiefer is spot on. By the way.
Yeah, a lot. I spent a lot. I'd be the guy. I'm not really a drinker, So I would go out, and I would be the guy at the end of the evening when someone crazy at 2 a.m. they'd be filming NYPD Blue down on the street, and then everyone would think it'd be hilarious to take Kiefer and get him on camera, Jack Bauer on NYPD Blue or whatever the cop show was that was being filmed. So I'm the guy that's fighting all the drunk, fan people off and getting him into a car and driving him home. I'm like, that could have been very, so there's so many times
That's
it
really
could have worked out very bad.
Well, it all worked out. It all worked out quite well.
It always does for Kiefer. The last time I interacted with him was his agent. Actually, we tried to hire him for Range 15, and his quote was $125,000 for one day.
That's not that bad though, to be honest.
It was a 6-hour job that day, so he was only working a half day.
I mean, that's 10 times what Sean Astin is. I think he's 10 times better than Sean Astin, probably.
Yeah.
Like popularity-wise and acting-wise?
Maybe,
right?
maybe, but
That's
either way.
9 times. Yeah.
The beauty of it is I chatted with, I was producing the film, so I chatted with Kiefer's agent, and I go, hey, man, yeah, we can do the 125, and he goes, all right, cool. And as soon as he said that, like, all right, cool, I was like, oh, shit. What's coming afterwards? And he goes, look, man, I would love to take that 10%. It would be fucking awesome for me. And he goes, Kiefer's just so rich that he just doesn't really need it. So he goes, I don't even know if he'll read the script. And sure enough, he didn't. And to be in that position, to just say 125 for a half a day shoot, to say, nah, I'm good. Don't even need to read that.
He's living his best life.
Living his best life, dude. God bless the guy.
Yeah, good for him.
God bless the guy.
Big fan of that.
You worked with another actor we worked with, Martin Kleba.
Oh, Martin, yeah.
Oh, Marty Kleber, yeah, he was in the Pirates movies, Little Marty.
He ripped off one of our buddy Evan's dick in our movie.
Yeah, he pulled a penis off, and he played a zombie, ripped a penis off a man's body while he was urinating.
While
and
his children were watching, too.
Yeah, while his children were watching, and then proceeded to throw it at the man in this movie. And so I spent about 3 days with Martin. How was he? Because he fucking parties. Yeah. And have you worked with him in America? Because there's a follow-up story to this.
Have I worked with him in America? I have not worked with him in America. It was on location, the first Pirates movie, mainly. And I'd seen him a couple of times since, but no, I haven't worked with him in America. And how I was working with him? He was fine. I mean, he's a ball of energy. It's just a full-on ball of energy. So, I haven't seen him in a while, actually.
Yeah, here's why we laugh, and this has been a constant running joke in this movie, and you can't stop laughing over there either. You didn't think you'd come on this show today and talk about a tiny person, Martin Kleba, Bill Cosby getting free, and then a sex cult. But here we are. And
I tell you what, I got, what is it, Joe Scarborough on Monday and the Gutfeld show again next week. This is a welcome relief because it's just, there's no pressure to sound smart. It's just like,
we're all a bunch of fucking idiots.
I'm getting in a lot of trouble.
That's quite the divide between Scarborough and Gutfeld, by the way. Those are two diametrically opposed people.
We're better.
No, I'm talking about those two guys are on very opposite
of course.
ends.
Are they really? I don't know enough about them.
Well,
so
Scarborough
I just haven't chatted with Joe. I met him and chatted with him, and he invited me on his show. And I'm like, oh,
Joe,
like a nice guy.
Scarborough was a Republican.
He used to be a Republican, and then he got Trump got in. And he was pissed off about that.
That was way before that he moved over.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah. He
was fucking his co-host.
He moved over to MSNBC a long time ago, and then Gutfeld's on the 5.
Yeah,
and that's pretty much.
Gutfeld's great. Scarborough's a piece of shit.
I don't care about either one of those.
Me neither. But what I do care about is Martin Kleba.
Yeah.
And you're not getting out of this story. The reason why I asked if he works with him in America.
In the room, were you pointing to him? Is he right there?
No, you were right in front of me, and I get to do it because we have this fancy studio, and Giorgio and Delco Dan has tricked it out, and it's very nice. So I get to point at all these monitors, and it's great. If you were here, it's shocking. It's like fucking CNN, to be honest with you. But with Martin Kleba, the reason why I asked if you work with him in America is he pulls up on set in a Corvette. And then Go to Greg on this one. There it is. Go to Greg. Just go to Greg. There it is. Yeah. We're gonna leave it on you for this whole story, Greg. Nope. Sorry, buddy. You gotta ride this out now. You're a part of it, and you're gonna live in this. Shows up to set every day in a Corvette, in a leather jacket, with leather cowboy boots. He's 4'6". 4'6". His wife now is right around 6 feet. She's a taller broad. But every day on set, he would get in this Corvette, and the pedals had to be pushed forward because he was a little man. And when he would gas it, there was no choice but for it to tear out of the parking lot and like gravel to kick up on everybody, because you had to add something to that pedal, Greg. And that's why I've asked if you work with him in America.
So you don't think he's stunting on you? You just think it's coincidence?
The first day I thought he was stunting on the whole cast and crew, and I was like, yo, dude, what the fuck?
That's a way better story if Martin Kleba is just ripping ass out of the fucking parking lot. It would be so much better if he had like a gold chain on it. He lifted the gold chain up and flipped you off while he was doing it, and then you look down and his wife her head goes down in the park.
Correct.
That's the life that I want that man to be living.
Correct. And that's why I was asking you if you work with him in America, if you could confirm this. Because on day 2, when he peeled out of the parking lot, I go, oh, shit. I don't think he's just peeling out, man. I think he had to hit that extended pedal to get the Corvette going.
Marty Kleba has a flair and personality that's very unique.
I like that.
End comment.
I like that. Speaking of flair, I need to ask you some questions. My lady wants to know where that picture and the man falling bronze statue thing came from.
Oh, yeah, your background.
Yeah, because you got some dope shit back there.
Yeah.
The one over your left shoulder.
So the picture is by which one? The one with the crow or the one with the last man standing still in the...
The crow.
We'll start with the crow first, yeah.
This is The Crow by an artist called Danielle Brubaker, or Danny Brubaker, a brilliant artist. She used to be a photographer, fashion photographer, and she creates amazing pieces of art. And the statues are by Marc Vinciguerra, who's a French artist, an amazing, really interesting fellow. He wears a top hat and a cane, and he bows, and he calls you my lord, and he's the most vulnerable, lovely, old school guy that you'll ever meet. And he does these amazing statues.
Any idea how to spell that dude's name? Because
Brubaker?
No, Brubaker's a woman. Danielle Brubaker. I can find that.
Vinciguerra, Vinciguerra, I think. Vinciguerra.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're really putting you through the paces here today, asking you to spell all of it. What about the statues behind you there, the sculptures?
The one on this side I think is called The Fall. There's 2 others here, and there's one off camera which is called Homo Crucifixes. That is, I think it was in the New York Museum of Art when it first when it first got because I commissioned it. Yeah,
Homo
these are,
crucifixes?
my art is my life. That's, now I don't have my kids. That's really where it's at. I love my meaningful objet d'art.
How about projects out in Hollywood? Has it started to heat up now that the pandemic is over?
Well, the pandemic is just getting into full swing here with Gavin Newsom and his recall efforts, or fighting the recall efforts as it's lockdown, it's no lockdown, it's lockdown, it's no lockdown. The uncertainty is continuing as the small business owners still go out of business and go bankrupt. And apparently Gavin's got $27 billion in surplus, but he's going to have to fight this recall. And some of my friends in Hollywood are providing money to his campaign, which is surprising to me because I think he's a buffoon.
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly a buffoon. The media keeps talking about this Delta variant, right?
Yes.
And they're talking about, like, we're fucking... they're encouraging people, their health department is encouraging everybody to go back to wearing masks, whether you're vaccinated or not.
Well, specifically in Los Angeles, where you're working, and that will shut down the film industry again if it does.
And the spikes that they're talking about are about, I think, 3 to 5% of what we would consider a spike last summer. So they're trying to message that the danger is the same if you believed it was dangerous in the first place, but the danger is the same as that happened, and it's 3 to 5% of what it was before. So I wonder aloud frequently on this show, how long are people going to continue to suspend their disbelief? Like, do you really think that motherfucker with his slick back hair and his big fucking fake veneers is telling you the truth?
No.
Come on, man.
Months ago, he was sitting in the most salubrious restaurant in California, the French Laundry, having dinner with all his healthcare cronies making plans to make more money while everyone's suffering and businesses are closed down and shut down and we're all living in social isolation. So he's a hypocrite. He's just a hypocrite.
Yeah.
We need rid.
Did you see that video the other day of the guy, was it the French president? Who was it? That they noticed that the little red dot came on the camera, so his entire staff scrambled to put their mask on before they started.
Oh, yeah. Come on, man. We're all done with this. Yeah, can we just move on with our lives? Delta variant, I don't care at this point. I just don't want people to be out of work and out of business. For you personally, auditions picked up and everything else, movie-wise, are you working on anything right now?
I think there's a little more movement, but there's still uncertainty. It's we're going back to sets are opening, we're going back to work, we're going to film, but then there's a little we need to pull back a little bit. So no, my focus right now is being on the Respondent, is getting this book out. It just came out yesterday, and doing press for that, and growing out the charity CPU, and hoping to turn the Respondent into a movie. So that would be interesting.
That'd be great. Would you get to play yourself? Are you famous enough to sell overseas?
No, I wouldn't want to. I don't want to play.
Okay, so then who do
myself.
you want?
I've done a lot of video games. I got to play a video game, so I got to play with myself in the video game, which was
phrasing.
I never say that.
Phrasing.
Yeah.
So who do you want to play you?
Who do you want to play you? Sean Hayes?
Johnny Depp?
Do you know what? Johnny Depp would be an interesting choice because, particularly if it were a TV series, I think it would be because he's never done TV. So that might be something, actually, that's not a bad idea. It might be worth pitching. No, I haven't thought about it yet. I've got some ideas, but, I've got some meetings set up. So we'll get into that, and then it'll be, all of the producerial questions that get asked about who's viable overseas and box office. And
it'll be a 4-year conversation.
Yeah, it depends on where you mean overseas, right?
Yeah, because look, I think Forrest Whitaker would be great as you.
Yeah,
and that's look, I don't know you that well. This is just purely based off physical looks, and I think Forrest Whitaker would be a great Greg Ellis. But that's me. I don't make these decisions. Hollywood does, obviously, and I'm throwing his name into the ring. But then, Sean Hayes, too,
Hayes?
a non-gay Sean Hayes. Like, if Sean Hayes butches up for your role, I think, yeah, dude, yeah.
What, the Family Law, like doing the Will and Grace version of Family Law?
I want to.
Your Honor, stop!
I want a serious drama.
Oh, that's such a nice gavel.
I want a serious drama with Sean Hayes as a straight man playing you, getting divorced, losing his family and children and everything else. And that's pretty much all I want in this life. And then, obviously, I want Martin Kleba to play one of your boys. Like,
well, we could get Eric McCormack into. I've known Eric for a while. He's the gayest straight man I know. So.
Oh yeah, shit.
That's true. I actually had just rewatched one of the series that he did, the Travelers. It's really good. It's there's this same Canadian production company that makes all these great sci-fi series like Continuum, Traveler, shit like that. A couple of other ones that are really good. I think they were involved in Battlestar Galactica as well. They all use the same actors. I like that dude.
Yeah.
McCormack would be good. He's a really good fucking actor.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I know you've got a hard out because you're doing a bunch of press and all that other stuff. So I've got one more question for you here before you leave. Anybody actor-wise who's been on the show and who has guest starred on Hawaii Five-0, how amazing is that? You got to go to Hawaii, right? And they just put you up in a fucking suite and it's the greatest gig of all time.
It was pretty phenomenal. I was at the time, I was in England directing. I'd written a movie I was directing Kiefer in, and Stephen Fry, and I got a call, will you come to Hawaii and do 5 episodes of Hawaii Five-0? And I went, let me think about it. Yeah, okay. But I had to fly. It was like a crazy 72 hours where I flew from London to Hawaii, got off the plane, filmed 2 episodes in a day, got back on the plane, went back to England to finish directing, and then went back to Hawaii to finish up. But no, Hawaii Five-0, brilliant. Alex O'Loughlin, who's in that, has become a mate of mine, good mate. He's great fella, lovely lad. And Peter Lenkoff as well, who unfortunately went through the usual cancellation culture of Hollywood just the end of last year. Great guy and showrunner. So yeah, great times. I mean.
Yeah, everybody who's been on this show actor-wise is always just like, dude, Hawaii Five-0. If you get that call, you know you're going for a few weeks, and it's the greatest goddamn time of all time. Randy Couture always talks about it. He's like, man, if I could just be a regular on that. Because he guest spotted a couple times on that, and he was just like, pretty dope, it's the best. Yeah. It's the best. Yeah. Greg, tell everybody where they can find the book, because it is available today.
Oh, they can find the book at therespondent.com. That's got information about the book and lots of, my episodes that I do on the show with guests and information about the charity CPU. So that's really the main place. There's realgregellis.com if people are interested in me, but really I want to talk about therespondent.com, which is, my book and multimedia conversation on how we can inspire child advocacy and family champions and bring back the notion of family and fathers in particular. Let's get men, let's stop this Me Too monologue and have a Me Too dialogue. We need to hear more from dads and fathers. So yeah, I'm all about that.
Look, I agree. Dan Delco, can we play him off with a Cosby thing? Because he was a father too. What, Greg?
That is wrong. I mean,
Greg, give him a Cosby sound effect so he can get off the air properly.
Here I go down the slope. Oh, I'm going zip-zop, zoom-a-da-bop.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's from fucking Family Guy or something.
I like how you acted it out, Greg, as if this was...
So we need it over and down the slope. I'm like, it does sound like Family Guy. I'm like, what part of Cosby was that?
What choice do you really have?
It was his prison years, man. Like when you go away in the clink
it's the prison years. Oh gosh, that's his new podcast. The name for his new podcast, The Prison Years. Welcome to the prison years. God, this is such a fun, irreverent show.
Oh, it's the best, Greg. You can do and say whatever you want here. Life doesn't exist. COVID has never existed on this show. And we just don't care about anything. You can drink. There's firearms. Dan's been smoking weed the entire time. And,
where are you guys? Where in the world are you?
Austin, Texas. You should come down.
Where? Austin?
Yeah.
Get out of my pants. That's brilliant. Austin, Texas. I love Texas. I was supposed to be coming a couple of weeks ago. I'll have to get down there and come and say hello.
Hey, I tell you what, call Ari and get our shit. Next time you're in town, come in studio and we'll rage with you. You were fucking awesome, man. We really enjoyed this, for real.
I would love to do that. And you know what? Knowing that nothing is off limits, we need more of that.
Yes.
So I'm glad that we found each other in terms of, not like that, don't get the wrong idea, but just in terms of entertainment and just having an irreverent conversation where there's no rules.
Yeah.
Just rights.
That's it. And look, I'll take it the other way too. It's the last day of Pride Month, If you want me to fuck you in the ass, I will. So just let me know. Just like Kiefer. My wife will permit it. You're a pretty good looking dude and she'll dig the accent. So I can get away with it. You know what I'm saying?
Get a bit racy and sully. I'll give you the English version of that, which is they do that.
Oh, very Oasis of you. Very Liam of you.
Pluck you. right?
Yeah.
Comes from
Very. Oh, shit. I might have to play us out with Wonderwall today. No, thanks for being here.
Today, it's going to be the day where... Anyway, yeah. I waste this time. Thank you, fellas. It's been a trip. It's been delightful. What a good time spent with you lads.
Oh, dude, we enjoyed it. And much success to you in your book. Check it out. The book is out now by Greg Ellis. And wonderful, wonderful actor. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I'll see you next time, fellas.
All right, take care.
I got to go.
D'Anthony.
My flight's fucked up. So
Is it really?
I'm going to go deal with that bullshit.
Where are you going now?
To the lake.
Oh, really?
So I'm going for a meeting first, but afterwards.
Okay. Who was it? Was it American Airlines?
Southwest.
Southwest, you bet. Look, Southwest is always a blast, isn't it? But what I really want to talk about here is I really want to get down to some Cosby shit. Can I hear one more sound effect, Delco, please?
The kids, they listen with their hipping and the hopping and the bipping and the bopping.
It's not the one that I like. However, the more you keep playing it, the more into it I'll be. And I'm one of those people where it's just like, if you keep jamming a sound effect, a specific sound and or noise, I'm all in.
Do you want me to just mash them all?
Go ahead for the audience.
There's
Go
four.
ahead. Well, hang on. Bob, can you put up a picture of Cosby for the audience here? Because he just gained his freedom today. He's back. He's back.
All right, so we'll put the photo up and then we'll mash. We'll button mash.
Yes, let's do that.
All right.
So we'll put the photo of Bill Cosby on screen for everybody watching on YouTube.
It was a good high quality one.
We just crossed 84,000 subscribers today, which is not even near what our audience is. But we'll put his picture up, celebrate him, so we can lose a bunch of subscribers today. And then let's mash it up.
Here we
go.
With their hipping and listen to the rap music, which gives them brain damage.
I'm actually a gigantic fan of that. Whatever that was. Go one by one, because before we started the show today, we all walked in and we just saw the verdict and everything that happened. They were walking him out of jail. Everybody's fucking partying with Cosby. Felicia Rashad is looking for that reboot as Claire Huxtable. Go one by one, because I said, hey, pull some Cosby sound effects today. Love it. So that was a fan.
With their hipping and the hopping and the bipping and the bopping.
Not a fan of that one.
The kids, they listen to the rap music, which gives them the brain damage.
The third one was the one I hated.
Here I go down the slope. Oh, I'm going zip zop zoom da bop.
Yeah. And if you're wondering why we didn't use the real Bill Cosby, well, we were worried about old YouTube yanking down our videos, so we had to go with some Cosby imitators. That's where we're at in this world. We can't even use Bill Cosby's voice. We've got to use Cosby imitators, or they're going to yank the video. They just did it on Tailgate Legends.
I had no idea, because it's a soundboard, so I just ripped them from a soundboard. So
No,
whoever soundboard it was.
I know.
shouts to you.
Like, dude, he was one of those dudes that was very, very business savvy as far as like what was going on with clips and ringtones and all that other shit. Like, dude, Cosby was rich as fuck. I would assume he still is, but those court battles, like Greg Ellis was talking about earlier, go for years and years and years, and it just drains you of your money.
You know who got rich off ringtones?
Who's that?
Akon.
Oh, that's right, dude.
Akon and
Young
Jeezy.
Jeezy. Man. So I miss a little Akon in this world. He was back with fucking Tekashi 6ix9ine for a reboot of that. I'm locked up. They won't let me down. I'm locked up.
He's busy right now.
What's he doing? What the fuck is Akon
He's
doing?
given the continent of Africa fresh water, and he's also building Akon City.
Look, I know that Bill Gates is trying to give fucking Africa free water and all that bullshit too. I also watched that 60 Minutes doc where they were like, hey, dude, you know that could have gone to some local businesses and you didn't have to make all the money off of giving water to children, thirsty children in Africa, right? So,
Also, something happened during this podcast that we should probably mention. Donald Rumsfeld, dead.
shut the fuck up.
He did. He gone.
Are you kidding?
R.I.P., I guess.
Fucking A.
Maybe
Pull
not. Probably
up Rumsfeld. Bob, I didn't know that. This has been a crazy news day where we're just kind of battling stories here. Mentioned the Nexium case finally got all the prison sentences, pushed out into the world today. Allison Mack got 3 years for branding chicks with homeboy. Rumsfeld is dead, huh? What was his cause of death? Was it paragliding?
I'd imagine, yeah.
Or just old
Probably
age?
an accident, right?
Wow. What a weird day, man, for news. I enjoy going live on days like this where it's just like, all right, cool, fuck it, man, let's go. And then see what happens. Yeah, Rumsfeld is dead at the age of 88. I mean, look, 88's a great life, okay? Was he there during the Bush administration? Was that? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
I was a small boy.
Cheney.
Look, I was a small boy.
Watch Vice.
Yeah.
Steve Carell plays him.
Wasn't old enough really to remember any of this, but 88's a great life. I'm not. What are you gonna do at that point? I'm not gonna shit on his biscuits at 88 years old. I bet you he's rich as fuck, dude. Rumsfeld. It was him and Cheney who did like a lot of fucked up shit together.
Yeah.
Is Cheney still alive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's Darth Vader.
Yeah.
He'll live forever.
He'll live forever.
I know you talk about this a lot, but like when you have a good career, Twitter gives you what, like 1 or 2 hours?
Yeah. I've given up on that, and I'm glad you brought that up.
Right, but if you're Rumsfeld, there's people who just quote tweet any news that he died and just say "bye, bitch." Is that like the other end of the spectrum?
No, and I'll tell you why. Okay, so this is. I'm glad you brought this up. We did not chat about this, but this is a perfect example of everything that I always talk about. Number one on Twitter right now is Bill Cosby. Okay, so a dude who raped like 60 people, got out of prison on a technicality, is number one. Everybody's celebrating his life. People are fighting about him being a rapist. Other ones are like, man, this is a black man caught up in the mix. Blah, blah, blah. Number two is Donald Rumsfeld. Now, Rumsfeld was actually the Secretary of Defense for our nation, right? Whatever you think of his career, that was a pretty important position, and he held it for many, many years. And that will only get you dying. And being Secretary of Defense will get you number two behind Bill Cosby in this world. So if you're out there and you're thinking to yourself, man, I really want to leave my mark on this world, I don't know if it's possible anymore. Because with our ADHD society that we're currently in, it's about 3 to 4 hours where they're like, oh yeah, but then fuck off. You need somebody like, who's the last one? DMX. I mean, DMX was buried in Barclays Center, so that's a big one. Kobe was a massive one, but and that kind of lived forever. But this Rumsfeld, I would be shocked if this lives past 3 to 4 hours on Twitter. Dead serious. So like all your life, let's say you worked as hard as you could. Your dream was to be Secretary of Defense for our nation. You were going to be that dude. And then all of a sudden you die and you're like, wait a minute. Shit, 3 hours is all I get on Twitter? Fuck, man.
His family's probably happy with that, though.
Who, Rumsfeld?
Yeah.
I don't know much about the guy.
Not really
going
to celebrate.
No, like he's 88. I don't know much about the guy. But Allison Mack is a perfect example. She's at number 9 here. Again, she branded chicks. Bob, pull up the brands that her and Homeboy were doing. Carl or whatever the fuck his name was. There it is. Yeah. Pull that up right there and put that on screen. Oof. Now, she was branding girls right by their pussies right there, and like they were fun, flirty cattle and shit like that. Keith Raniere got, I want to say, like 145 years. She got 3 years today. So you can brand somebody and only get 3 years. Or if you're Cosby, you can rape like 60 women and get 2 or 3 years tops. So, and then you're out of there.
I mean, Cosby's just OJ 2.0, which is basically to say totally incompetent prosecution.
Yes. But look, you still have to follow the fucking rules. And you didn't. Now, in OJ's case, they did follow the rules. But when you have who was it, Mark Furman, who got up there and was just like, I plead the fifth and all this shit? Oof. You can't have your lead investigator go down and just plead this fifth and say, I'm not going to fucking testify. Like, sorry. Can't do it. It was fucked up. OJ definitely guilty. Same with Cosby, but these legal technicalities and all this shit. It's what our guest was talking about earlier. You pay these motherfuckers all this money, and then they still may or may not do the job properly. Fuck, dude. What a nightmare. What an absolute fucking nightmare. And then you have Kodak Black, who's just throwing $100,000 into the ocean, and that's trending. So you have Donald Rumsfeld, the Secretary of Defense, Bill Cosby, the rapist, Allison Mack from the sex cult, and then a guy who just got out of jail because Trump pardoned him, and he's throwing $100,000 in cash into the ocean. I don't know what the hopes and dreams are of throwing $100,000 into the ocean. Do you just want rich sharks? Like, I don't understand what that is or why you would want to do that. Hopefully it's part of a music video, but I'm looking at it right now, and it's definitely real fucking money for no reason whatsoever. So who fucking knows? That guy just got out of jail. It's the best people that are getting out of jail is what I've always found in this life. It's the greats where you're like, ah, man, Kodak Black, let him out. Cosby, let him out. OJ, yes, dude, let's get him out of fucking prison, brother. Let's party with them. Now, if you're looking for a fun prison mate, that's going to be Allison Mack, because clearly she's down for whatever. If she's branding other chicks and eating pussies, and like, that's a shaved one, Bob, by the way. If you look at that, pop that picture right there that's up on my monitor. Pop that up on screen one more time, full screen. There you go. Look at that. That's a shaved pussy, Bob. She talked somebody into that.
We don't know. Could just be like a little round.
Look at how close her fingertips are to the zipper, dude.
It's not that close. I mean, she could have a trail still.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, like a landing strip? Maybe. What I love is there's a wedding ring on that finger. How do you explain that to your new husband? Of, hey, oh my gosh, why do you have that Gorbachev like birthmark right next to your pussy lips? It's not that. It was this pesky sex cult I was in.
I think you go with birthmark.
I think you have to, but a lot of them did the documentary on HBO. Who knows, man? Who knows? Looking at this though, I don't know who that is. Is that Allison Mack? Whose vagina is that? Do we have any word on that, Bob?
No confirmation, no.
So that's just a stranger walking around in the world. Oof. You might be able to find her tonight. L.A. just got out of lockdown. Homegirl's now in prison. She's not worried about anything anymore. Ranieri's behind bars. Allison Mack's behind bars. This bitch is looking to party. That's all I'm going to say. If you're in the Los Angeles area tonight, maybe give it a go-sies. Give it a go-sies. Now's the point in the show where we get to the Drinkin' Bro of the Week. These come in live, so if you're wondering why I'm looking at my computer, you go to drinkinbros.com. There's a submission form for it, and all you have to do is send it in. It's free, but they just pop up on the screen live. So whenever we're taping or whenever we're going live, it goes out to the audience, and we're able to read it here. This one is from Alex Van Gilder from Florida. Member of Drinkin' Bros for 4 years. He's been listening. Nominating Van Bean. Reason for the nomination: he is my uncle, and he has helped me raise me like I was his son. My mom and dad split when I was young and didn't get along, so I was never around my dad. How appropriate for today's show, actually. Uncle Van took me under his wing and showed me what a real man was. He taught me how to hunt, fish, shoot, work, provide, and most of all, respect. I don't know where I would be without him today if it wasn't for him. Cheers. Man, it's odd when it works out, when we're live on air and it actually fits in with what we're doing today. Usually we have these fucked up shows, play the Cosby Effect, any one of them. Go. Yeah. Usually we have these shows and then it's a super dark story at the end where you're just like, oh no. Oh boy. It's Charles, and I'm nominating my mother, Greta, who just died of AIDS. She had fought the battle for 23 years and finally succumbed to the HIV virus known as AIDS. Like something like that, where you're just like, oh shit, fuck. Luckily, this fit in with everything we were doing today. And Uncle Van sounds like a rad dude. So cheers to you. And cheers to you guys. Go to iTunes, rate the show a 5-star, and leave a quick review. It really does help. That's the only thing that keeps us in the fucking charts all day. D'Anthony is hopping on a flight here to go spend some time with his lady. That's a real thing now, by the way. They're fucking back in it, dude. Good for them. Good for love, dude. I think that's our biggest takeaway from today. Love wins. Okay? Love wins. or the opposite of literally everything we've talked about today. Love ends. It just ends everything. But I will say this. With the Hawks last night, we went on live with Homegirl yesterday. I did put $1,000 on the Hawks. On mybookie.com, promo code Drinkin Bros will get your match your deposit back to $1,000 on mybookie.com. And the Hawks were +7 and came through. I'm having a great day.
You're
You
a coward.
Can't really stop me. Don't care.
You're a coward.
I'm not a coward.
You didn't take
Why
the money
am I
line.
a coward?
Didn't take the money line.
Oh, didn't take the money line. Well, I didn't know if Trae Young was going to play, and then he ended up
And he
playing,
didn't.
and fuck it.
He didn't play.
Yeah.
And it was like plus, I think by tip-off, it was like plus 425 or something.
Look, if Giannis doesn't go down, I don't know if we win that game. So whatever, dude. Or is it Giannis? Am I fucking giving him a soft Y?
Giannis. He's a troop, though. Respect the troops.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will. But is it Giannis or Giannis?
Giannis.
Okay. All right. Because obviously we're bros with Giannis Papas. I don't want to fuck, like, his is a full Y. I don't want to fuck up the soft G if that's what we're doing. Is that what we're doing? If that's what we're doing, that's what we're doing. That's fine. You don't seem real confident in that, Delco Dan.
No.
All right, cool. To lead us out of here, I want 4 more Cosby sound effects. And then for the audience, if you can just leave, Hot Bob, just leave that pussy shot up there of the Nexium one. That'd be great. Boom. There it is.
Yeah, we'll
kids.
fade out on that.
Yeah, we'll fade out on that. Thank you for listening to Drinkin Bros. It's been a wonderful program that we've shared with you this evening. Hopefully you've learned a lot, you've laughed a lot, and you're a better person for listening to our program. And if you are, go to iTunes, rate the show a 5-star, and leave a quick review. We love you. Now give me 4 Cosbys and this pussy shot to end.
With their hip and all the rap music, gives them the